flashes out of bottom lane, go back, have somebody dive, you're gonna get in there, and I think that that's what they were doing, and it was quite effective. So I personally want to see carry top laners from Zig. I think that if he pulls something like the Rumble out, then that's gonna be really good for Phoenix1. If they're able to actually have a carry up there, sure, I feel like, you know, tanks are much easier to execute on and play with your team around, but I do think that Zig is a good carry top lane player, and it can give him that X factor in matchups where Darshan can't go even on tanks or be a little bit ahead because they're playing tank on tank. I do think that the carry could give them that edge up, like I said.
Now into champion select for game number 3. We're going to see that prioritization, that targeting against Meteos again with the Olaf. They're saying the difference between game number 1 and game 2 was super extreme.
Night and day.
Let's keep that going again. Let's get rid of that. LeBlanc also going to be banned away by CLG, while the support focus is the name of the game for P1.
Yeah, literally just completely polar opposites in terms of the performance of having Olaf, not having Olaf. And there's the Shen ban from Phoenix1. So Varus on the table. Still have Graves is up.
Graves gets by. Phoenix1 not going to be banning that one away at all. Varus does get taken off the table by CLG, so we'll have to see what P1 wants to decide to do here. Camille was left available. That gets hovered for a split second, but Ashe is ultimately pick number 1.
Over the Jhin as well, so they go for it again. It's what they had first picked back in game 1, but the Elise that Counterlogic Gaming had banned in the last 2 games makes it through, so they were already throwing a ban at Meteos' Elise, and now it'll be back and an option for him, as well as the Graves and Rengar still on the table too. So we'll see what these junglers go for, whether it's comfort or a little bit more meta.
Based on the performances of game 1 and 2, I feel like Rengar is bad luck at this point because both junglers have had a very unhappy performance on that champion so far this evening. Darshan and the rest of CLG going to be picking up that Elise for Xmithie. So we'll be seeing that in the jungle this time out of him. Hopefully for their sakes, it's more like his Graves than it is like his Rengar. It does have a lot of playmaking potential. We know Elise as a capable duelist, a capable ganker, capable of pretty much everything, but wants to get involved early.
Yeah, you want to have that level 1 through, or 3 through 5 effect on the team, and you want to be able to snowball. And so we'll see if Xmithie's able to do that. It had been previously banned twice by Counterlogic Gaming. Now they pick it up for fear of Meteos having that champion that he was so well known for back in the day, as well as Zac. Will it be the Rengar? It is the Rengar over the Graves here for Meteos.
Okay. Gonna be picking that one up, deciding to try it again, saying, look, game 2, we got all the bad stuff out of the way. That was the one where the bad Rengar stuff happens. Now we've got nothing but good Rengar stuff coming down the pipe for Meteos in game number 3. He will be up against an Ezreal. So a bit of a slippery target to have to assassinate.
It's hard to get onto. You would expect the Jhin to come through, but since there's been buffs to fervor of battle by about 2 seconds in the duration of the stacks, Ezreal, people who are Ezreal players really like playing Ezreal now because he feels a bit better than the Warlords users. Granted, he doesn't build lethality, but he's still very safe. Backline poke, and if they don't have a tank on Phoenix1's side to soak up those Mystic shots, it becomes a really big deal.
The poke can be so very effective. It's like you see Varus piercing arrows just absolutely shred people, and obviously a Mystic shot is not going to be as strong as a piercing arrow, but it's also coming through a lot more frequently. He can apply them pretty much at his leisure. We'll have to see if he's able to dial those in as the game goes on. Nami going to be picked up as the support for Phoenix1, and the response from CLG is going to be Braum.
Yeah, I'm noticing Aphromoo is going a little bit more for counters here as much as he can. The Bard into the... Oh, wow, the Talon, that's... Okay. Took me back there. Counterlogic Gaming banned Talon.
Counterlogic!
Away from Zig and Ryu. It is a flex pick. Can be played top, can be played mid. I'll go back to what I was saying about Aphromoo. Bard with Ignite for the Soraka, but also in this matchup, also the Bard was also for ulting the Jhin, making sure he can't use it, use the Curtain Call. And here, it's for blocking the wave. It's for blocking and making sure that they can't engage as readily as they'd like to on Phoenix1's side.
You can also get in the way of arrows very easily, too. The Ashe arrows coming out, you can block those. You block the Tidal Wave, like you said. Just a lot of denial potential. First ban in phase number 2 for Phoenix1 is going to be Camille, so they don't want to have to possibly deal with that from CLG. They know what Darshan is capable of doing when he's playing a carry-style top laner. We saw previously this split, him go absolutely off as Gangplank when he was against Phoenix1. So they're recognizing that carry potential and saying, no, not going to happen.
Yeah, and Darshan See if he goes for the carry with the Shen banned out. The Nautilus still on the table. Maokai did get nerfed, but some people will still gravitate towards it and play it.
Both these, and you mentioned it in game number 1, both these players have a lot of Maokai games. It is their most played champion. It's not an extreme difference for Zig. It's like 8 Maokai games, 5 games of the next closest thing. For Darshan, it's 13 Maokais and 4 Nautilus is the second closest. So he's a big Maokai player, but CLG is going to be picking up the Jace for themselves. To see exactly how Phoenix1 responds to this. Currently thinking about using that Orianna.
Yeah, I think you go for the ball combo, the Orianna plus the Rengar. The jump in, get some Wombo in there.
Always fun to mix up a little bit of Wombo with combo. Kled, though?
Hey.
Is this? Hey, okay.
All right.
We're still going to get the carry top laner.
I mean, it's not the Kled, but I'll be satisfied with this.
We'll take this Yordle instead. It's a Yordle riding a robot instead of riding a lizard.
There's a big difference between them as well. So the Rumble, though, for Zig, I mean, he loves playing carries, and we've said it multiple times. He sees himself that way, and we'll see if that actually ends up being a good thing for Phoenix1 in this game, because he has been having more and more carry performances. He bodied Impact in the top lane, to the point he had to get subbed out for Ray, and then it still didn't matter. And so we'll see here, because Phoenix1, they're running a composition that has a lot of engage, and a lot of ways that it's kind of like soft engage, but you add them together. The Nami wave plus the Rumble ultimate plus the Ash arrow plus the Rengar jumping in. You have all these ways to go forward, so if they get a lead, they can definitely push a lead, and it's a very good team at controlling Baron Pit and things like that.
And look what they are up against. The last pick of the draft for CLG, Aurelion Sol. When he's not banned, he's coming in. This is going to be a lot of fun to see who pretty much the player for Aurelion Sol. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
And it looks like it's a little bit of a change up there too, because Jace has been played more and more and more in the mid lane, to the point that it's almost like 70% played in the mid lane as opposed to top. It's expected now, so you do expect that Jace most likely to be played there. But it seems like CLG preyed off that knowledge. The Rumble matchup into the Jace can actually do a lot of damage and zone the Rumble off early, and he doesn't get off the ground until he gets about 1.5 items there, or if he gets a gank rather early on.
One thing you got to be careful, though, when you've got that Jace in the top lane, that means you don't have a tank in the top lane. You don't have a tank in the jungle with your Rengar either.
They got Afro.
They do have Afro, but they've got to be careful, because if CLG puts them in a spot where that Wombo combo can go off like we talked about, they're going to find those health bars just disappearing.
Yep, and we'll see. Aurelion Sol, though, for Huhi. Signature champion, I would say, at this point.
Definitely.
If you were to do a pocket pick, it would be on.
Yeah, if you're to see, hi, I'm Huhi and my pocket pick is X, everybody fills in the X with Aurelion Sol. That's what he's known for. It's a very unique champion, not just in the fact that he's the only person who plays it, but just the way the character works. Very different from a lot of other champions. So when you see somebody who really likes it, who really knows a lot about it, it's fun to see the kinds of outplays and mechanical things they can demonstrate on that champion.
Yep. It's funny because you're like, oh, he just runs around with stars on him. But his mastery curve is actually very high. You have to invest a lot of time in him. And even around Worlds, people were still not investing the amount of time needed to actually master Aurelion Sol. And so Huhi was definitely way ahead of the pack on that, and putting so many games in and knowing how to space himself, how to use the Celestial expansion to full effect.
We just got to hope those darn stars don't end up disappearing on us and causing us to remake this one. Aurelion Sol.
Caster Curse is a thing. Don't do this.
The Lord of Stars and Visual Bugs. The CLG.
There's no Bjergsen in this game, so he won't get Aurelion Sol disabled.
The ball comes over the wall. Ryu tossing that one towards that dragon, but not going to be finding anything so far. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is for all the marbles.
Somebody got really excited about marbles.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved marbles. And some kid stole mine on the playground. I was actually really upset.
That would be upsetting, man, especially if you loved them as a kid and some other kid just comes up and says, "No, this is mine now."
Yeah.
That's a heartbreaker.
We're jerks. They took all my shooters, my slammers. my pogs, too. They took my pog collection.
Not the pogs.
Not the pogs. Leave the pogs. Take the marbles.
All right. Darshan in enemy territory. Going to be finding a little bit of damage onto Zig as he gets a little bit barbecued in retaliation. But level 1 Flame Spitter not exactly going to be cooking up too much trouble, as Huhi moves into a solid spot in mid lane, and Aurelion Sol's push power is nothing to joke about.
Yeah, we'll see what he does with it as well, because he'll clear out level 1 very quickly. Meteos running to the other side. Xmithy is actually doing all the jungle, though, and we'll see level 2 collide here. No, Xmithy is just in for the buff, and he's out. So it doesn't affect Rengar too heavily due to the fact that he's not mana-based.
Right.
But cooldown reduction is always nice.
It's also nice to just get the golden experience from getting the buff as well. It sets you behind a little bit, not being able to have that, as Huhi and Ryu just kind of going back and forth here. Like we already mentioned, Huhi's wave control potential on Aurelion Sol very early. You can shove it up, make Orianna just kind of stay on the back foot.
Yep, and because he dips in and out of brush, it's like, we don't know where he is. He could be anywhere. And so the bottom lane, you see Adrian's like, I got to back up, because he could be coming down, and then immediately he shows himself mid, and then they'll start pushing up again. It's this fog of war game that you can play really early on with Aurelion Sol. And hey, sees the blue buff is still up.
Yeah, the Cosmic... I'm trying to remember the actual names of this champion's abilities. I haven't seen him in so long, but his Comet of Legend, his ability to soar into other lanes and make those rotations so effectively means you've got to be very, very aware of that positioning for Aurelion Sol at all times.
So even right there, right, he goes into the fog of war, he's playing around with it. And then Ryu has to go ward it, has to walk up.
Xmithy hanging around here, might find Adrian walking a little bit too close.
Oh,
Flash Cocoon misses! Adrian pops summoner spells to get himself away. Flash gonna be used, arrows heal as well. Disaster for CLG.
Adrian, so you'll do this in solo queue and you probably look like an idiot to the other person, where you're going back and forth. You're like, there's somebody in this brush. I just feel there's somebody in this brush. You're like, all right, shoot the cocoon. Do it, do it, do it. And you're slowly but surely approaching. And eventually, if they wait long enough, you'll probably walk into the bush. But there, Xmithy goes for the aggressive play and uses the flash cocoon. You ever approach a bush and you're just like, I know there's somebody in here and I shouldn't check this.
My mind's telling me no, but my body,
yeah,
my body is telling me yes.
Darshan's actually losing that trade. Zig about to have his cooldowns back a little bit sooner than Darshan. Gets the flash.
Flash away from Darshan.
Look at that.
Be big. Darshan can't really find anything in retaliation either, so kind of drops the gate off to the side of himself.
Yeah, I think what happened there is the cooldown for QE is a little different than 2Q cooldowns early on. So he Q'd and then he clicked back and E'd then, just slightly off. Because normally you'll hit EQ in one direction, and if your E is like a half second off of cooldown, it'll then come up afterwards if you're hitting that key too much. So a little bit off there, but that's going to cost him in that lane, and it's a lane that he is up against cloth and potions. So Zig, oh wow, going after who here, and there's Meteos.
Huhi
Ward it, jump.
Flash over the wall. Meteos not going to be able to jump over the wall. The ward is not there. Huhi gets himself out, but it's at the cost of both summoner spells, which means he's likely a target for a repeat visit from Meteos sometime in the near future.
Yeah, Ghost of course does have a pretty low cooldown. And we'll see if he's able to actually do anything with it. But hold on, look at this. Huhi comes back into lane to try and shove it up. Make sure that Ryu doesn't get a good back or it freezes. Xmithy in the area to cover. And so now he actually has a better back timer than Ryu does.
So easy to just push that wave up, expand the stars, wear them all down with a couple of those ticks, and get that wave where you need it to be. Xmithy paying a visit towards the top part of the map right now. Not really seeing any opportunity to get anything done up here. Just hanging around in case Meteos decided that he wanted to make some kind of a move onto Darshan, who does not have a flash after that little bit of a problem in his 1v1 versus Zig. Meteos is now down on the bottom part of the map, still farming towards that level 6, like you talked about last game. Very important for Rengar. You want to hit it as soon as you can. And speaking of level 6, Zig just hits his, and Darshan is honestly in threat of being killed at almost all times now because he doesn't have flash, he doesn't have a way to get off of the equalizer, and the Rumble will jump straight at him. So if Darshan puts himself in a position where he could just be equalized and destroyed, and that's what Zig is looking for here, he'll put himself in heat range, I assume. Yep, and all the way into full OP.
Yeah.
Just wants
I was
to
like, he's not
burn
gonna
this away.
He's going to go for the push and try to force Darshan to have a bad back, miss some CS. And so Darshan is going to have to stay around longer. And that's kind of like, we talk about back timers, we're like, oh, it's a bad back. It's because the other guy gets back to lane about 8 seconds faster than you do.
Zig heading on his way back up towards top side now, decides to go back to base and grab an extra control ward before he does it. We talked about the importance of vision already, but it can't be understated. Words win games. Having the ability to know what's going on and see things just a couple of seconds before you otherwise would can be all the difference.
Yeah, and we see some Elises go for Moby boots first to roam around, get the cocoon, get into lane, and get a kill. Xmithie's not having that early pressure. Xmithie's 2 levels down, by the way. Meteos is crushing him in the jungle right now. I assume Xmithie will get close to 5, if not 5 off of this. And if not, it's scary. There we go. 5 for him. So he's a level down. He's a full level down. It's a level 6, and he's going for Huhi here. Pop the ulti.
Shockwave going to be used. Huhi having to walk away from this one. Meteos in hot pursuit. Remember, no summoner spells for this dragon, and Meteos grabs first blood.
First blood again for Meteos. Now he's going to run into the jungle and try to find out where Xmithie is. I think he just saw that die, so yes, he does know that Xmithie was right there, and now Xmithie's on top side. So he's free to clear the bottom side, look for wards here, and get control.
Good play from Ryu and Meteos, taking advantage of the lack of summoner spells. You can see the ghost back up now for Huhi, so it was just a little bit off.
Yep, because they saw Xmithie go to the top side. It's time to look for an Ash Arrow. What is he doing?
Meteos getting himself in a pretty sketchy spot. TP is going to be used by both top laners. Did they go through or did they cancel?
Oh.
Biggs is going to be canceled, but Darshan goes ahead and completes his into the bottom part of the map. We'll have to see if he can get anything out of this. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of lost CS.
The funny thing is they actually get something out of it, and it's called the enemy blue buff. And it's weird that they get it out, but hold on. They're going to try to stun Ryu, and then Darshan's right there.
Ryu eats the accelerated shock blast, keeping himself alive, though. Pops the ghost, not the flash. CLG does not want to go for the dive.
Yeah. Xmithie. I guess continue to clear. He's long gone.
True Shot Barrage not really going to be finding a whole lot of anything. Was looking for Meteos, but Meteos made sure that he backed in an unorthodox spot just to avoid that very scenario.
Yeah. Meteos getting caught up a little bit here by Xmithie. Xmithie got that whole left side of the jungle, so there isn't really anything there for Meteos to take. The blue buff is up now as well, and look at that. Xmithie punishing Meteos so hard for showing bottom and going for such an aggressive play. When there was a blue buff that was coming up shortly, maybe Meteos could have stayed around and gone for the efficiency or gone for the camp trade. But they tried to go for a bottom lane play. He almost got punished with the stun. And Darshan's on the top side of this. He gets a shock blast on. We'll see. Oh,
there comes your shockwave. CLG looking to make some kind of a counterattack, but they won't be going any further. Oh, Ryu holds them all off.
Oh, he found him.
Darshan going to be finding each other. He's overheated, and that burn is extreme.
He gets flash again.
The heat wearing away. Darshan does have the ability to get out of this one potentially. Equalizer still going to be landing. Meteos looking to make the move. Flashes over the wall, finds the jump. And Ziggs grabbing kill number 2 for Phoenix1.
Meteos with a flash over the wall into the jump there. You can still jump out a half second and after you come out of that. And look at that, hitting Huhi, but not hitting Huhi. Hits Afro, but doesn't matter.
Huhi getting himself away for now. The exhaust going to be used onto Zig. Ryu grabbing the kill on Afro. Huhi trying to keep himself alive. Both summoner spells expended. Afro move grabbing the kill onto Zig. Meteos grabbing the kill onto Huhi in retaliation. 1 for 2.
Explosive game so far, though. They ended up just kind of doing nothing for a little bit, trading back and forth, waiting for level 6s. The junglers finally caught up. Xmithie got up there. Then it's time for action. They go after Ryu. Great flash in the mid lane to avoid being killed, and then that made Darshan overextend. It's the right play for him to go and try to look for those kills, but then Zig was there. Zig with the perfect answer, the pickup there. Now he has both spell penetration items, and this was the continuation of the dive after Darshan had died. Zig and Meteos were both on the back left side in the northern part of the map. Zig has turret aggro again, and
I think he lost 80% of his health to turret shots.
I believe so. He tried to go back through the turret, and I believe the Deathfire touch from the Rumble had actually redrawn aggro to him.
Never lucky.
Yeah, the way that it works now, ever since the change in the preseason, is that the turret call for help, even if the enemy isn't in range of the turret that you're hitting, then it'll still target the person who's dealing damage to them.
More shockwaves onto Huhi. Ryu is just using this non-stop, and it's working. Xmithie shows up only to find the cocoon onto the enemy caster minion, and Ryu just feels very in control.
Yeah. A lot of people were trying to find counters to Aurelion Sol for the longest time. Orianna, Echo popped up as one as well that people were trying out. Hold on, Zig, though, doesn't have an ulti for a few seconds. There we go. Yeah, up now.
All right, looking to make it happen. Equalizer on the escape route. Darshan going to be eating multiple turret shots, but not enough to make it a 1-for-1. At the same time, though, on the other end of the map, first turret blood goes over to Phoenix1, and they'll call that worth.
Yep, and they're going to look mid lane as well. Meteos on the right side of mid. Looking for just taking over that side of the jungle. Adrian is also going to make a roam here. Has the wave, so they might actually make another play. Honda Huhi, we'll see, because they see so many people top. Don't know if they will. They decide not to. Meteos has ulti. He's just going for the punish. I guess he saw Smithy level 8. He's like, I got to take his jungle or else it's not going to matter.
Blue turret falls in the top part of the map. That's going to tie that objective count up at 1-1. The first Drake this time around, I knew we couldn't get all 3 games in a row if Infernal is #1. It's just Cloud, so you're going to see a lot less prioritization of that.
We saw like an 8-minute, 9-minute one previously, and now it's Cloud Drake.
Now it's just a big old bucket of I don't care. This poor Cloud Drake is always left out in the rain, man.
Yeah, everybody's like, he can stay.
I'll just let him. It's a
he's harmless.
Species,
just leave
right?
him.
Just leave him there. Still a 1,500 gold lead for Phoenix1. 4-2 in terms of kills. They've got kills on the Rengar, kills on the Orianna, kills on the Rumble. Some real significant damage threats coming out from these guys. And it's very worrying when you've got something like a Rumble and an Orianna and a Rengar going into the mid game.
They hide so much. P1 hides so much. And like you're saying, it's scary. And there they go.
There comes the fear itself. Aphromoo trying to get himself away, but it's not going to be doing anything. The arrow going to be going a little bit wide right. They don't make it a double, but they at least get somebody, and the trap succeeds.
Yeah, they just use the CS as a bait all the time, and they've done this again and again and again. And it seems like Arrow, Meteos, and Adrian are the ones who are doing it most often. Arrow is just popping out of vision and throwing Enchanted Crystal Arrow out. Looking for Ryu.
Smithy and Huhi want to make the play. Ryu's going to be stunned up into Chain CC. Voice of Light decrees his death, and Huhi's going to grab kill number 3 for his team. Hey, they got the Cloud Drake, though.
Yep, they got it. They picked it up there, but they're losing their top side of the map. Zig was running through the jungle, so that Darshan now has priority on this. Higher up in levels at the moment. Completes his Maw of Malmortia so he can continue to duel. Do a little bit better in this matchup.
Smithy hanging around in the jungle, got Aphromoo with him there as well. Just in case Zig tries to go a little bit crazy in the 1v1, they'd be there.
This blue buff is just counter logic gaming. So it doesn't even belong to P1. It shouldn't even be on their side of the map. It's just been taken every single time. Even the first one.
Yeah, P1's been 3 buffed all game.
Yep. That's 3 of their blue buffs gone over. It's all of them. So far to counter logic gaming, they've been doing a good job controlling that top side buff. But it's not like Meteos needed it in the beginning of the game. But Ryu would like it right about.
Yeah, it helps control Ryu a little bit.
Yeah.
Puts a constraint on him, not allowing him to do that non-stop spam. CLG looking
for Huhi.
Kind of a defense. 2-man stun coming out from Huhi. Trying to find more damage onto these valuable targets. Not going to be making it happen just yet. Zig makes his way into the fight with the TP. Equalizer available means CLG does not want to fight in these small corridors.
And so they're looking for the engage. There's the arrow.
Arrow comes out, finds its way onto Aphromoo. There comes so much Wombo with the combo. Zig grabbing the kill onto that one. Huhi going to be forced to flash away from the bubble. Accelerated Shock Blast finding its way onto Meteos. The Spiderling and the Mystic Shot take him very, very low, but he's not dead yet. And Phoenix1 make a 1-for-0.
This is legitimately 5 ultimates to kill Aphromoo. Like, they wanted him dead.
Yeah.
Like,
why pull punches?
It was like, Aphramoo's gonna die or Darshan's gonna die. And Aphromoo took the bullet for him.
Very good stuff from Phoenix1, showing the power of the team working together like that. Stixxay now looking to make the moves onto Arrow. Darshan and Huhi want him to, and Stixxay grabs a kill credit. The Voice of Light would have been cutting him off no matter what. And now the push comes for CLG here in the mid lane, looking to take down this tier 1, get themselves an objective advantage in that department if they can. Adrian going to be tossing some bubbles at these guys, but to no avail. There comes your Cocoon, here comes the Winter's Bite. Adrian hangs around too long, and he's going to be punished for it.
Yeah, when you use 5 ultimates to catch out a support, the enemy team now has pressure. It's a gigantic vacuum where they still have their Voice of Light. They have ways to actually catch you out. Aphromoo still has the ultimate to jump in.
Huhi got caught backing right there a little bit, but no real punish. Just a little bit of damage from the Orianna and a delayed back timer.
Yeah. And so Arrow, he's a little bit too far forward here. And then they Shock Blast, get him. Huhi's in, Voice of Light, gets the kill there. And then they're ending up getting the turret. Ryu is bottom, and he's the primary source of wave clear here. The Ashe ends up a little bit too far forward, clearing the wave when it's equalized. And then Xmithy went just with the cocoon. Nothing fancy, no flashes or anything. Goes straight in onto Adrian and gets the kill. They should not have been there. I was going to talk about how Arrow has actually been playing really well on this Ashe. I love how he's dipping out into Fog of War and throwing the arrow and having somebody sweep the area to make sure that there's nobody that could possibly see him throwing it. And he's doing a good job of setting up the picks. But right there, that's just him being too far forward.
Hextech GLP now completed on
Super Soaker.
Aurelion Soul. Yeah, an item that you don't normally see a ton of, but on Aurelion Soul, it's going to be giving him that much extra burst. He's going to be in your face anyway, most likely.
It's the kind of core build item for him. It keeps people at the right distance. It'll slow them down, keep them inside of your W. And it has all the stats you need. It's actually not too much worse than a fully stacked Rod of Ages. Some instant gratification, some instant stats for you.
Everything else in this game pretty much par for the course. The Leandry's on the Rumble, the Warrior on the Rengar, going for that Black Cleaver next, wanting to make sure he gets down that additional armor penetration onto whichever target he jumps into. Also going to be helping out Arrow with that. Mana Moon stacking up for Ezreal. Stixxay currently has that at about 530 out of 750, so it's going to be done in the first half of the 20-minute area of that clock, so he'll have the Mermana done at that point. He can do that much more damage with that bonus passive. Until then, they got to keep waiting on as the fight breaks down. Still looking to make something happen. Stixxay grabbing the kill onto Meteos. Arrow backing himself away. There comes the damage. Accelerated Shock Blast finds that one. Aframu having to jump back, who he still wants more. Equalizer comes down from a long way away, grabbing the kill onto Aframu. Xmithy may be in some trouble here. Electro Harpoons and fires over the wall. Ryu grabbing the kill onto him. 2 for 2 when the dust settles.
That's how you do it. When Spider's up against the wall, you just burn him. You throw an Orianna ball at him too, apparently.
Kill with fire.
But that ends up being rather good for CLG when they get pressure, but it does end up being a rather equal trade across the board. Yeah, it looks like they're trying the same old. They're trying to catch people out, and Aframu, he's just baiting here.
Meteos comes too close.
That's just one of the reasons that they really love having. Ooh, nice repel there. Shockwave actually hits nobody, and they love having this Aurelion Soul because who he can join these fights so quickly with his E. And Aframu gets picked up. And Xmithy gets picked up. And he's up against the wall.
It takes them a little while, but they get him.
Cook him. It was a 2 for 2.
8-7 game. The damage in that last team fight, a lot from Orianna.
It's a missed Shockwave.
A missed Shockwave. And a surprisingly low 78 from Rengar.
Really surprising?
Not the most damage in the world. A little bit more work. Hey,
when the Nami does more.
If he keeps that up, he's almost up to 25% of the damage that Nami did. Ah, what a god.
The junglers, though, it's not all about them this game so far.
Right.
We talked about it.
That's very different.
The carry top laners came back in, and that play was started mostly off the back of the fact that CLG, they knew they could take it with Huhi coming in and roaming a little bit faster. Also, Darshan was going to get there quicker, too. Zig didn't have teleport. He was up on the top side of the map. Counterlogic Gaming are playing the macro game quite well. And now they're actually playing around the Infernal Drake. Ryu wouldn't be close to this, and Zig
really want to set this up. Zig walks just a little bit too close. The follow-up CC is not going to be there. They almost get what they're looking for. Now they're going to have to head back towards that Drake pit. With Zig hurt, this might be their opportunity to jump on this one. It is Infernal.
Yeah, but he is going to get healed up by the Nami. I think that you still fight for this if you're Phoenix1.
P1's got the tools to make one hell of a team fight come out. Meteos jumping in on top of his opponents, finding a little bit of damage there onto Darshan.
Yep, it's the ball delivery now on cooldown. The ultimate from Meteos. Try to get mid-pressure.
Meteos eats a cocoon, but it's not really going to do a whole lot of anything. Adrian's heals doing a great job keeping P1 topped off. Clearing out some of the wards in the pit. And now they've gained control over the area. CLG are the ones who have to respond to this. True Shot Barrage doesn't find anything at all. Both teams have now drawn a line with this Infernal Drake between one another.
Yeah, they're going to actually go for the 50-50. They're both giving the junglers access.
Here we go. Xmithy going to be the one who grabs it. Meteos having to back away. Glacial Fissure going to be used to make sure that P1 cannot mount a counterattack.
Oh, that was Afromu right there. That was Afromu through and through. Ooh, hits Dixie.
Arrow finds its way onto a very valuable target. There's your equalizer. Wave going to be coming through as well. Afromu barely getting himself back. The heal's going to be popped. Stixay and the rest of CLG full retreat now as the Phoenix1 attempt to make something happen ends up falling just a little bit short.
You have to be careful. There's still an ultimate coming up from Meteos in a few seconds here. Let's see if he does anything with it.
Looking for finding Xmithy in the jungle and just delete him off the face of the world. That is not your red buff today. Meteos going to be grabbing this one away, making up for a few of those stolen blues from earlier.
Yeah, making up for it just a little bit there. He'll take a kill to boot. Hold on. They're in an awkward position. They're going to have to use the blast cone, I believe. Try to get out. Meteos!
Or just walk straight into the bush, flash over the wall, try to keep yourself alive.
Yep.
Darshan
Yep.
is going to be chasing this one down. The Nami heal, trying to get Meteos out of there. Accelerated
There's still a
shock
turret.
blast,
There's
not
still
going to
a
find the
turret.
mark, but the tier 1's still there. Meteos has no choice but to turn around and try to fight it. Exhaust going to be used, but Dixie is too close, and they can't find the damage. Adrian now having to run for his own life as CLG will settle with the kill onto the jungler.
It's such an awkward position to be in because the red reset and they walked all the way back and he's like, I still got to get this. And then it put them too far in the jungle. Ryu and Arrow both actually backed off because they were forced out by superior numbers. And then the blast cone apparently wasn't an option for him. And he face checks and almost dies. Then dies after.
Then dies afterwards, but he gives him a hell of a chase in the process.
Well, he didn't get any real summoners for it either. He had to blow his own flash, and he got Adrian's flash and exhaust as well.
Yeah, they spent a lot of summoners trying to get Meteos out of that trouble, and ultimately it doesn't pay off, so really sad investment.
It's not good.
For Phoenix1, as they're now going to have to play around not having those available here until those cooldowns come back up again. And with the game only being 1,500 gold apart, with it being so potentially swingy off the back of one really good or really bad fight for either side, you've got to take every single consideration into account because one wrong move could be the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hitting that point where the Baron definitely on the table.
With the carry top lanes, that means the Baron can go down very quickly, too. It's not like you've got something like a Maokai or a Shen in there doing almost no damage to it. You got a Rumble, you got a Jace, you've got these champions that can take that down effectively.
Also makes it really risky to do as well for both teams. Afromo would want to zone, and he did a beautiful job, by the way, of zoning on the Infernal Drake. His ultimate, his Glacial Fissure, was perfect. It was exactly what they needed, and I assume the communication was burst it now, and he used it diagonally towards Meteos, the only person who could possibly steal it with a smite against Xmithy, and zoned him out of the fight, not just with a knockup, but also with what would be a slow afterwards, too.
Banshee's Veil completed as item number 2 for Huhi.
So the build for Aurelion Sol, you go basically as annoying as possible by building as much resistance, simultaneous AP, things that will keep you in the fight. And so I believe almost every item that he will build will have HP on it. GLP, Banshee's Veil, Leandri's, Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
I was going to say, Rylai's is still a pretty critical part of the build, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's a very big part. You don't have to get it immediately, but hold on. Smithy.
Smithy in some trouble, has to repel, but he's got nowhere to go, forced to flash out as well. Huhi going to be soaking some damage over the wall too, very, very low, both of these champions. Phoenix1 looking to make more happen here if they can, but it doesn't look like they're going to find that opportunity. Meteos pops the ultimate, still looking to close in on Huhi if he can. Pings are there, but Meteos is not going to be there in time. Instead, just backs himself away.
Yeah, Ryu got poked out and had to actually go to the top side of the map, clear out that wave. Let's take care of that and go back. But yeah, the Aurelion Sol build that we were talking about, it's pretty much all HP items and mixture of AP and resistances because your whole job is to just stay alive, and the longer you're alive, the longer you have your stars out. And the stars don't need to do more damage if you're still alive and just hitting everybody with them.
Right, you're not going to get a lot of revolutions of the stars if you go in and die in a second and a half.
Exactly. So the build has been adjusted for that. It also makes it so that your mistakes aren't as hard punished, right? Of course, it goes without saying that the tankier you are, the more mistakes you can make by not dying immediately.
Right.
So when you just position or misposition for a quick second, sometimes it'll cost you your life. But if the build is like this,
There's more leeway.
It takes more seconds.
Yes! More than 1 second to pop you is generally preferable to the alternative. Leandri's Torment and Void Staff both completed onto Zig's Rumble, working on the Zhonya's Hourglass next. He's got a lot of penetration for all this damage. So he'll get through that Banshee's Veil, he'll get through that Maw of Malmortius, and he's still going to pack one hell of a punch in these team fights with a lot of AoE. And the same can be said for the Orianna. A Void Staff of his own has been completed for a while now. Needlessly large rod in the inventory means he's just stacking that much more raw AP. And that's what they need. They need to be able to find somebody with these as P1 looking to make their move if they can. The arrow comes out, but it's not going to collide onto anyone. Even if it would have hit Huhi, the Banshee's Veil would have blocked it. Very useful against that spell.
Yep. Meteos, though, trying to jump onto Smithy. And now they're in a point now for Phoenix1 that their bottom turret's going down to a Jace. This is the Jace split push dream. He has teleport. He'll get here. He'll get this turret. They have to start off the Baron, try to force something out of Darshan like a teleport. They have to threaten this. This is the macro play from P1. But if it doesn't work out, they lose mid priority, they lose bottom priority, and they're going for Afro.
Could be very bad. Afromu looking to jump over the wall, pops the flash, doesn't even bother with the jump, plays it safe.
But they don't get the TP out of Darshan. Darshan is now onto the turret bottom. This is the macro play failure here.
Ryu almost getting himself popped, gets back in time. Redemption going to be used, comes out, hits onto CLG members, who he forced to flash away as Darshan is just dismantling things bottom lane. They have left him there way too long.
Yeah, that was the gamble from P1. They said, we're going to start up the Baron because we can't get rid of this Darshan on the bottom side. Jace takes 2 turrets, gets the inhibitor. Mid lane was shoved in by Stixxay, and now the Infernal Drake on the table as well for CLG. And Phoenix1 do not have an equalizer, so they will most likely not try to go for this fight.
Great macro level outplay from CLG. Just out-rotating and out-thinking and out-maneuvering their opponents.
Yeah, they were down about 2,000 gold, a little bit more a few minutes ago. And now they've just kind of slowly climbed their way back into this game. They slowed it down. Oh, this is risky. There's some backs. Darshan is backing. Meteos, not tanky though.
Yeah, Meteos does not have the tank ability to do this. He's all glass. We've seen some tankier types of Rengars. We've seen Dead Man's Plate. That's not going to be it. Who he's stunned up. The bubble comes in. The follow-up CC is down. Shockwave finding its way onto Afromu, who he's still barely alive. A killing spree for Zig. Darshan comes in behind these guys, but he's not able to find anything just yet. P1 is still moving as a unit. They've got a 5 versus 4 for the next 25 seconds.
I don't know if they'll be able to use this, though. They got the TP out of Darshan, which is kind of what they want more than anything else. So now they have TP advantage on P1 side, pressure on Counter Logic Gaming to play around Baron. And now Zig can go bottom, know that he's not matched by Darshan. And Darshan is probably going to have to actually group up and try to force something with CLG to get Zig to answer.
Zig happy to stay in the bottom lane for now. His team's still only down about 700 gold, so couldn't ask for a much closer match 30 minutes in. And considering neither Game 1 or Game 2 even made it this far, Game 3 is easily the closest one of the season.
You're right. I almost spit out my water.
Yeah, we can't compare the score now to the score at this point in the first couple of games because it didn't exist.
That's true. It was just completely dominant performances. It was not a 10-8 in kills. It was not a 2-5 in turrets for CLG. CLG definitely up there.
That means there's
more comparable in a lot of metrics.
There's a lot of standing gold on this map. If P1 gets the opportunity to take down some of those CLG turrets, they're going to find themselves building a lead very rapidly. But the question is, can you get yourself in a spot where you can out-rotate CLG, get to those turrets, and make those kinds of plays? That's what P1 has to figure out how to do. Well, and that's what CLG's been beating them at.
So what CLG have going for them is it's much easier for a Jace to split push threaten turrets. Rumble, not so much. He's a big team fighter, would have to rely on the teleport to get in if he was going to split. And now they're at kind of the mercy. Afromu, they're going to try to go through him again.
They're always finding Afromu. It takes so much effort to kill him, though, but they've got what they came for. Who he going to be target number 2? That's a big one. That's the one you can walk away feeling good about. Stixxay going to be walking right into it. A little bit more damage will find him. Another volley would do it, but he flashes away to stay alive. But with him that low, Baron is what P1 is looking for.
Yeah, Darshan's going to try to do what he can. Mio's going to go around the back of the pit. I assume he kills the blast cone as well. Or not.
P1 just kind of waiting.
They're baiting. They're trying to get more out of this.
Seeing if they can maybe get Smithy to walk a little bit too close. Darshan as well. Arrow attacking, firing the hawk shot back. Darshan just getting away from the volley. They're trying to find him. The flash going to be used. Meteos still looking to make this one happen if he can. Smithy running towards enemy lines. That's not where you want to see him. Goes into repel mode, tries to land on the chickens, getting himself away for now. Adrian still in hot pursuit. Exhaust going to be used, and the spider gets squished. Meteo's grabbing the kill.
But now they're coming back.
CLG might be in a spot where they could potentially do something.
Another arrow.
They're going to be using the TP. Arrow onto Afromu. P1 still looking to fight this, but Stixay is able to find the damage. Darshan going to be dropping next. Who he's got that star. Meteo's having to get himself away. Adrian going to be taken down. Stixay's finding all the damage. Double kill onto the Ash. Still looking for more damage. Sig going to be run down next, and P1 is all but aced.
What are you doing, P1? They go through the batting order.
Look at that delivery! Shut down, Stixay!
Meteos little early with the W there. Doesn't get out of the CC. Still gets picked up by Stixay. And man, what was P1 doing? They went through the batting order and they're like, nah, screw Baron. We want these 2 kills. That was a weird shot call there. They were just too afraid of Darshan and Smithy killing this medium to high HP team. They just really didn't want to do the Baron. They had blue buff on Ryu. He had the resources to deal damage. They just don't have a tank, and I guess that's what's scaring P1 off of doing the Baron. They get the kill, and then they jump in and look at that. Counter Logic Gaming in the bottom left-hand screen are on it. And this is great because Zig comes in. He doesn't have Equalizer back yet. He's running straight through. Hui gets here so quickly. They aren't expecting this. The star comes through. Now they all have to dodge away. Arrow now has to walk towards Hui because he's pinched in by Stixay. And now Hui with the Ghost, able to chase them down, keep his distance.
And this is so perfect right here. This star gets out of range of him at just the right time.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
No, they just pass it off, give Stixay the kill, and walk away. That was so well done by CLG. They got the Baron, like you just mentioned. While we were watching the replay, CLG was able to pick it up. So now with a 2K gold lead, and off the back of that awesome fight, they're in the driver's seat.
Yep, and the Rylai's Crystal Scepter completed for Hui. So now, very tanky, a lot of damage here, but Stixay picked up a lot of those kills. 6-0 and 3 has been playing so well. We're talking about him and Arrow, number 1 and 2 for 80 carries statistically right now. And we'll see if he finds that consistent stride for him, because Stixay, I mean, he had a crazy performance at the Midseason Invitational last year, and then it was just inconsistency back and forth. He's hit a bit of a stride this split. Question is, can he keep it up?
Seems to be on one in this game right now. Smithy gonna be taken low, repels up to stay alive, but his Guardian Angel is gonna be popped. He's in a spot where his team can protect him for now, but Meteos is able to grab the burst. There comes the damage over the wall. Shockwave, one of the carries. Stixay and Darshan able to grab the kill onto Meteos. Sig to the side. Stixay cashing in again. Afromu gonna be killed by Arrow, who's now stunned up. The damage comes through, but he's not gonna be going down. He commits suicide. Darshan's looking for more. Arrow's gonna be killed. One left on both sides. The showdown that may decide the fight. Stixay looking to back away with the Baron-empowered recall. Arcane shift over the wall. Trying to find some opportunity here. Going for inhib. He's vamping up off of the minions. The red buff keeping him healthy. He's going to grab this inhibitor, keep himself alive. Ryu still looking to chase it down. Arcane shift not up just yet. One more second. Getting himself back, has to continue kiting with those mystic shots. And Stixay is one smooth criminal, man. He takes that inhibitor and he gets away with it.
Oh, that was beautifully played by Stixay there. Uses the red buff that he had just picked up to actually regen, waits, bides his time, and it plays it so well. Here, though, we're looking for some great shockwaves from Ryu. That's what they're looking for. Meteos jumps in, kills Smithy, gets out. Stixay now shockwaved in, not right on top of the equalizer, but he's not burning. Then Meteos jumps in, gets blown up. Zig is on the left side trying to contest. It's not working out for him. Arrow on the right doesn't have a front line, so it's so hard to actually approach this fight. But then right here, he just gets so much life back, gets the crit, takes down Hui. Darshan jumps forward, he doesn't kill Arrow, but it's still then enough to kill him back. And triple kill goes over to the 80 carry of Phoenix1. And then we all know the rest.
And like last time that we saw a really cool replay, during that really cool replay, CLG took another new kill objective. They grabbed the Mountain Drake. So it's just another notch in their belt for ways that they are ahead in this game, but it's still only 2K apart. 36 minutes in, Baron buff still with a little bit of time left for this Ezreal.
Yeah, comes down to execution, comes down to where's that equalizer, where is that ultimate from Ryu, where is that shockwave? Because they can wombo and they can combo and they can rock your world, so CLG have to make sure that they are conscious of that. They've been avoiding it so well so far. Aphromoo has been the primary target for P1 with 8 deaths. Like,
That's not really what you want to see your primary target as.
I mean, he's got 8 deaths, right? So they're doing their job. If your job is to kill Aphromoo, a mission accomplished for P1. But CLG are doing a great job of winning the game right now.
Problem is, you got this Ezreal that's 8-0.
Looking for a flank.
A much bigger threat. Meteos looking for a chance to come in off to the side. CLG gets a whiff of what's happening, decides to maybe cut him off here. Star gonna be thrown out, doesn't really find anything with it just yet. Meteos not gonna get his chance to run in there. Ultimate wears off. Huhi looking to make the dive here. Comes in behind Meteos, drops the stun. Meteos does not have the resources to cleanse that CC. The equalizer's gonna be dropped next. Aphromoo looking to soak the turret, provide that tankiness to keep Huhi alive. Ryu's gonna be cut down. Stixay grabbing the damage. Aphromu's gonna be shut down by Zig, but Darshan has the revenge kill. 4 for 1 for CLG.
Stixay and Huhi completely in sync there, playing so well this game. Huhi has such a mastery of this champion, the zoning potential, using it to its fullest. Honestly, they're going to end the game here. They're going to try to plow right through Arrow, who's desperately trying to clear out this minion.
Arrow is 1v4 for the next 20 seconds. There is no way to defend. And ladies and gentlemen, in game number 3, 38 minutes in, CLG has earned their win over Phoenix1.
And that's going to be CLG 2-0 as a tiebreaker.
What a phenomenal spot to be in, and you couldn't have said that you wanted a better game for game number 3. After the performances in 1 and 2, after the completely one-sided nature of both of those games, this third one was a battle.
Exactly. Goes the full distance, goes the 3, and now Counter Logic Gaming, same game record, same match record as Phoenix1, but they do have the 2-0 head-to-head. They don't have to worry too much about Phoenix1 in the standings competing, but this is CLG on an upswing. Huhi looks like he's in here. Looks like Stixay as well.
And that was what we were talking about going into this series. Last week, both teams 2-0 coming, well, not last week, 2 weeks ago. Both teams 2-0 because we had our off week. But now going into the second half of Spring Split, one of them would get to continue that momentum. And for the other one, the dream hits a little bit of a hiccup, a road bump. And that's Phoenix1 right now because CLG is still feeling good.
And you wouldn't think so after that first game. The most dominant 15, 20, and almost 25 minutes that we've had in the NALCS 2017 Spring Split. And you think that that would be crushing. They come back, they fire back. Game 2, completely the opposite. And they end up dominating P1. And then this last game, neck and neck, 22 kills to 20 was the final score there when CLG had taken away the 22 kills themselves. So, like, seriously, crazy performance from their carries in that game. I think Stixay and Huhi both were a huge factor.
And you know, that really kind of soils the records set by Phoenix1 in game number 1. Because now when people ask, oh yeah, Phoenix1, you guys set all those records, right? Yeah, and we lost the series. Yeah. So it's one of those things.
They won the game, though.
Yeah, they won the game, but it's all about that 2 out of 3 that CLG was able to walk away with. And just like you said about Huhi, the mastery on the Aurelion Soul. Game number 3 showed us why it was banned in games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then you go and you look at Phoenix1, you're like, oh, they banned Camille Nautilus. They're like really targeting that top lane. And they banned Shen as well. They left the Aurelion Soul up. It was something that they were so scared of in those first 2 games. And then they're like, okay, maybe we're just overthinking it. Maybe he wouldn't pick Aurelion Soul. And then he does it, and he's running around with 3,000 HP, multiple resistances, and just so hard to kill. But the damage that he deals simultaneously is so high, as well as provides so much utility with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
And he always had his Voice of Light placements and his Star Surge placements exactly where they were connecting onto valuable targets.
Yeah, or zoning somebody off of a certain option. Sometimes he'll miss them, but it's him zoning away from a wall or making sure that he's hurting them in a certain way.
It's all about controlling the fight. He did a wonderful job of doing it. And with CLG taking that close series, let's send it over to the analysts to close us out for the